ever been offered to drive for another team? If so, who and what was the offer and when?
Ooh, what was the offer? The answer is yes. So since I don't know how many people know this, but I signed with JGR in 2004. This was about the time that me and Dale Jr. started a friendship from racing online together. And I actually went to the Daytona 500 in 2004 to be a guest of his. And he had me staying with Martin Truex, oddly enough, in a little townhouse and with Josh Snyder, a few of his other buddies. And, and I signed my development deal with JGR that weekend. And so 2004, nothing really happened other than I ran a couple truck races. And then I ran a Darlington Xfinity race after begging JGR to put me in something. And so they did. That got me my ride in 2005. 2005, I run probably 4 to 5 months into that season. Dale Jr. brings me over to his house and he says, you really need to get out of that 20 car. I'm like, why is that? He's like, well, just no one's really run good in that because at the time Mike Bliss had run it. And this was before the 20 car in Xfinity really was winning a lot of races. That didn't happen until years down the road. And so I think there's better opportunities out there. It's like, okay. He's like, I think you should come drive for us at DEI in the 15 Napa car. Yeah. And so that was
this
my
was 2004?
This was 2004. That's
Okay.
correct. And so I think that they were looking to make a move there. And so I remember telling Dale that, I'm not ready for Cup. I know, I appreciate the flattery. Again, in today's day and age, I couldn't got in that car fast enough. Everyone's taking every opportunity they can. But back then, there was well-funded rides, and there was teams that had sponsors, and they were looking for the best drivers possible, right? And so I told him, I says, I'm not ready to make it in the Cup Series. I barely can run top 5 in Xfinity right now. I just came out of a late model, 6 months ago. So I'm in over my head to begin with. I need to get my feet under me. Let me run a year of Xfinity, see how I do. Let me run one more year, and then I'll be ready for Cup. Give me 2 years in Xfinity and give me the same offer again. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, yeah, I don't know if we can wait that long. And so I go on, and I progress another 2 months, and I start running a little bit better. We were in Richmond, Virginia, at a bar somewhere, and Elliott Sadler cornered me, and he says, hey, what's your deal with JGR? I says, well, I'm under contract, running this Xfinity deal, and right now that's all I've got, and nothing's really. I want to run Xfinity for 2 years and then run Cup. He's like, well, we're looking for somebody for the 88 car to take over for Dale Jarrett. I'm like, well, Elliot, I just had this conversation with Dale Jr. I'm not ready yet. I just don't feel ready yet. And he says, all right, well, I'm telling you, he told me a number offer. He says, they'll pay you this. And at the time, it was a lot of money.
That seems hard to pass up for someone.
I know.
What were you, 20?
But at the time, I couldn't do listen, I was under contract with JGR anyway. But I guess I was confident enough that, I was going to get my shot at JGR in due time. Well, fast forward about a month later, I read online basically that Loeffler got fired and that me and JJ Yaley are going to share the 11 FedEx Cup car from September to November, so for the last 14 races. Well, I just told these two other guys and teams that I was not ready for Cup, and come to find out, I'm about to make my very first start 3 weeks from now. And so I just was super nervous about it. I didn't think that I was ready, but there was something about the high horsepower of those cars and the Cup cars that it suited me. I was better in Cup than I was in Xfinity. Now, given JGR at the time, they had hit on like a cool bound setup. A cool bound means basically they got their nose lower to the ground than any other of the race teams, and Tony Stewart was kicking everyone's ass like 2004, 2005. And so I got in those cars and I was fast in them because they had one of the fastest cars, and I excelled, right? I got a pole, finished in the top 10, and it got me my ride in 2000. Joe told me, yeah, you're going to run full-time 2006 after the audition. So the rest was history. But that was the only, to answer your question, very long-winded storytelling here, but that was the only time I entertained other offers, which I really didn't entertain them, I guess. I was flattered by them, but, looking back on it, was just like, wow, well, those two companies are no longer in business, and I've won 48 races at JGR, so I think I made the right decision.
With the exact same sponsor.